Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to a new live build, and today we're gonna continue our WhatsApp clone, and here we are building a real-time chat application based on a WhatsApp design. And if you didn't see the previous episodes, in the first one we built the whole UI of WhatsApp. I'm gonna show you real soon how it looks right now. In the second episode we built the backend application and connected everything with an AWS Amplify. And today we're gonna continue with backend integration and more technical stuff. So in order to make our application real time. So whenever you receive a message, you will it will instantly display in your chat room. So you will be able to chat with people, because yeah, that's usually what you would expect from a real-time chat application, to send messages, and as soon as you send them, they would appear on the other people's phone. So thank you everyone for joining. Thanks for everyone who is joining live right now. And if you are new here, my name is Vadim, and on this channel we are doing live builds. We are taking popular application that you love, for example, Instagram, Twitter, Spotify, and we are cloning them in React Native using also AWS Amplify as the backend. And I'm doing that because I think that that's the best way to learn new technologies, and that's the best way to practice and improve your skills. Because I feel that a lot of people are stuck in the tutorial phase, and they're watching like tutorial after tutorial, but never actually have the chance to start working on a real project that you can see and use. And yeah, I think that this is the best way to learn, and that's how I actually learn all the technologies that I'm using, and that helped me become a CTO at a startup, and then have an internship at Amazon as a developer. And yeah, currently I want to share this knowledge with you guys. And yeah, you seem to enjoy these builds, and I'm gonna continue doing them in future. So if you're interested in that, please consider subscribing to the channel, leaving a like, and maybe share it with people that you think that might be interested in this. Yeah, let's wait a bit for people to join, and we're gonna get started real soon. So how are you doing, guys? People who are watching this live, where are you coming from? Where are you joining us today? Yeah, you might see that I've got an upgrade. I have a new microphone here, and I hope that you can hear me well. It's a Rode Pod mic that my microphone arm can barely hold, because this dude is pretty heavy. But yeah, I hope that this will improve the sound quality, and you're probably gonna hear a bit less my dogs barking in the yard and all the noises around me. Yeah. Hi, Alexandra. Hi, Anas from Palestine. So, guys, first of all, let's have a look at what we have right now, what we built during the previous episodes, to know like our starting point for today's episode. By the way, you can find all the code so far on the GitHub, link in the description, and you can either start from the first episode, which I highly encourage, because you will go through all the steps of building the application, from setting up a project, building the UI interface, then integrated it with a backend, and so on. But if you're interested in only like the real-time functionalities, yeah, go ahead and clone the project and start with me from this point. Also, guys, we have a very awesome community on Discord, and everyone is sharing their knowledge and are sharing their progress with their builds, and also like all our interesting information there. So make sure to join the Discord channel, link as well in the description. Okay, then let's have a look at what we have right now. So yeah, after you clone the project, let me close everything. Let's just do a yarn start to start the development server of the expo. And the expo will open this window from where we can run our application either on an Android device or emulator if you have a Windows machine, or you can choose iOS or Android if you have macOS. So also you can run it on your own Android device by just scanning this code in your Expo app if you download it from market, and that's like a really easy way to test real-time your application even on your personal phone. So I'm gonna go and press run on iOS simulator. The application should work both on Android and iOS. So I've got the coffee, I've got the water, everything is here. Stay hydrated, guys. Don't forget to drink water. So yeah, here we can see our application. First of all, from the UI side, yeah, we have all the navigation, the header with the color of WhatsApp, the tabs. Currently, we have implemented only the chats tab, but we can easily swipe through other tabs. And yeah, I encourage you implementing this as well, because that can help you improve your skills further. So from the chats here, if we go into a chat room, then we will see the messages with that person. This is all connected to a backend, and if we go to another one, we'll see different messages. We can also start a new chat with a new user by going to here, the floating button for the new message. And here we will see a list of contacts in our application that are registered. These are also coming from the backend. And if we press, we're gonna go to a new chat room and we can start typing there. The messages are also working. So for example, if I go here with Mike and say hello, we send it. We don't see anything, but if we go back and go again into the chat room with Mike, we will see the message hello here. So yeah, that's not the best user experience to send a message and then go back and enter again. And whenever Mike will send us a message, we'll not be able to see it right here, but we're gonna be able to see it again, like by going back and refetching the messages here. So that's what we want to do today. So whenever we send a message, the message will instantly show here. And also whenever Mike sends us a message, it will again appear here. So we will have this real cool interaction with the application, and it will update on every new message that is incoming to this chat room. Yeah, that's the plan for today. But before doing that, I also want to implement something else, and let me show you what I want to implement. So if we see here, for example, in real WhatsApp application, we see that in the chats where we display the chat rooms, besides the name and the avatar that we are displaying, we are also displaying the last message from that chat room, and also like when that last message was published. We don't have yet these functionalities, so I want to start with this one, because this one should be a bit easier than subscriptions and real-time functionalities, and slowly get into the harder part. So, are you ready, guys? How do you hear me? How do you feel? Yeah. Not this one. We are already in part 3, real-time functionalities. So, let's start by implementing the last message in a chat room. So how can we do that? My idea is, whenever a user creates a message, whenever the user submits a new message into the chat room, we will do an update to the chat room itself and store a reference to the last message. So basically, in the chat room, we will have a last message ID, which will be updated every time someone writes a new message. That's how from a chat room, we will be able to easily query which is the last message, who posted that, when posted that, and so on, all these details. So to do that, first of all, we need to update our schema for the API. And yeah, let's start by doing that. So, all right. Let's open this one as well. So our schema for our GraphQL API lives in the Amplify folder, Backend, API, and then here schema. So in this schema, we see all the models that we built during the previous live stream, and that's a user model, that's a chat room user, and this model indicates a relationship between a user and a chat room. So this is a many-to-many relationship between user and chat rooms, because one user can be part of multiple chat rooms. For example, here I'm part of a lot of chat rooms. And as well, a chat room can contain multiple users in it. So that's why we need a many-to-many relationship, and that's why we need an intermediate model between a user model and the chat room model. Yeah, a chat room model holds a list of users who is part of this chat room, and a list of messages, like what are the messages in this chat room. The message model, let's not edit anything right now. So the message model has an ID, the content, like what message we are sending, has a reference to the user ID to know who is sending this message, and also has a reference to a chat room ID to indicate in which chat room this user is sending the message. So we need to have a reference to the last message in our chat room. So let's do that. The same way as we attach a message to a chat room by having a chat room ID and then connecting them with a connection. The same way we can do a connection between a chat room and having last message ID, which will be a type ID, and it shouldn't be required. The exclamation mark is if this field is required. It shouldn't be required because initially when we create a chat room, there is no last message. So it's not required. And also last message, which will return, in our case, a message model. So from a chat room, using this field last message, we will be able to query everything from the message. For example, just by doing a query to the chat room, we will be able to get the content, the created ad, like the user, and everything about the last message. So we connect this with a message using a connection, and the key name will be, let's think what will be the key name, because I think we need to create a key on the message. Will we need that? I think that we can use the by chat room key. Let me think, because the fields are chat room ID. So actually not. We don't need a key name, because this is one-to-many relationship, and we can just indicate what are the local fields that will indicate like the chat room. So the local fields are ID. and just by that, I think that we will have a connection from a chat room to a last message. So if I didn't do any mistakes, that should work. So let's try to push these changes to AWS. So it will do the proper changes on in our cloud, for our API, for our database and everything. So to do that, we'll write amplify push me, and then just touch me. I can do like this as well. Should I do some ASMR videos? Amplify is pushing. It's asking me if I'm sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Yeah, joking. So, yes, to override all the queries and subscription and mutation, everything that we have. Is that everything that we need? Let's hope so. No, it's not ID. The local field is last message ID. Come on, Vadim. Let's abort. Please. Yeah, I made a mistake. The local field is last message ID because that's how we will make the connection between chat room and a message. Hi, Sovik. How are you doing? Yeah, this might take a couple of minutes. I'm not sure if I can abort, and I don't want to risk aborting something and not being able to continue because I'm pressing Ctrl C, but it doesn't stop. So I think that we will just have to wait a bit until it updates once. Maybe it will give us an error, and then we can run again amplify push with the last message ID that we changed here. So guys, are you following these builds yourself? How is it going? Do you have any progress? Do you need any help? Yeah, there is not other thing that we can do until we wait that Amplify updates everything. So hello from India. Hi. Waiting. Hello, Abdush. How are you doing? Oh, with my camera position, you might not see the commands that I'm writing, right? That's not very good. If I do move to top right, yeah, here we will be able to see. And I should make sure not to edit anything on the end of the screen. Hello, edit. So it pushed. Let's do again because we did a typo there, a mistake. And let's wait one more minute. No changes detected. No changes detected. I'm not sure if that's the case, but we could check. Let's do amplify console API, and this will open the AWS console for our API. We choose GraphQL there. And here in the queries, let's have it a bit bigger. So in the queries, let's think first of all, where is so let's do a mutation to update update a chat room. Update chat room. And here is update chat room. For the inputs, update chat room. For the input, we will say ID is required, like which chat room we want to update, and also last message ID, which is the last message in the chat room. So we're gonna find those IDs real shortly. ID, last message ID. Then we're gonna query the last message to see if the relationship between a chat room and a message was created successfully. And for the last message ID, content user ID name. But before that, let's do query chat rooms, and we're gonna run the list, not users but list chat rooms. And what we're gonna query the ID of a chat room and messages, right? Yeah, messages ID. It's enough. ID is enough. No, messages is items, because it's a list of messages. And yeah, here we can write the ID. So let's run the first chat room's query. We see the first chat room with no messages. Okay, here we have a chat room with messages. Hopefully we will be able to find this one. So chat room, this one, this is the ID of a chat room, and we copy it and put it into the ID of update statement. And the last message there, let's say that this is the last message. This is the last message. And now we can run this mutation and hopefully it works. Yeah, last message null. The last message ID was set successfully, but the connection didn't create successfully. So we will have to rerun this, but it says that no updates. Let's do a dummy update. Hopefully it will work. Amplify push. Okay, now it detected. All fields provided to a connection must be null, scalar, or enum fields. Non-null. All right, non-null. This means that the last message ID shouldn't be null, but we know that a last message ID can be null. Because if we set it as non-null, we will have troubles creating a new chat room. But let's say that the ID is not null and we can give it a dummy ID when we create a chat room. And it will just not find that message with that dummy ID that we will give initially. So yeah, let's try that. Hopefully we do not break anything. So just to remember that we need to test creating a chat room. So we will see if it still works or it broke. And this will override. Yes, my friend, please. Yeah, let's wait one more minute until everything is updated in the cloud. Dun, 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 dun. Uh, uh, Someone is asking, how do I get React native application ready for production? How do you get the React Native app ready for production? Basically, you start building it with the mindset of being ready for production from the beginning. And that means that you're doing it in an optimal way, not just to work, because a lot of times like developers say, okay, yeah, it's working, but that doesn't mean that that's the most optimal way that it will work. So other than that, like you just do good manual testing if you don't have automated tested set up. And if when you make sure that everything is tested, like, yeah, go ahead. And then you'll have time fixing the bugs in production. That's the most fun part of it. Yeah, because like when you think about like all the important stuff that should be taken into consideration before production, that's mostly related to the backend. So we're speaking here about security, about the backend being able to hold big amount of traffic, like load testing the application, the backend, making sure it's scalable in the first place. Because yeah, like you never know like when the application will hit like millions of users, if that's like the intention of application. So you should be not specifically ready, but to have a very good plan in mind. Like, okay, if that happens, like I'm gonna do that. If that happens, I'm gonna move to that service. I'm gonna increase the resources on that service or that database or stuff like that. And yeah, like to know where are the bottlenecks, because yeah, maybe your server for the API scales pretty well, but if you run like the database on a Raspberry Pi, then like your bottleneck is the database, because that will not be able to handle all the requests. But that's yeah mostly about like the backend. For the mobile, like make sure that it works, don't have any critical issues. Yeah, it's optimal, and go ahead. Yeah, I'm coming more from a startup environment. So in a startup environment, you never wait for the perfect moment to get started. So it's actually better to deliver like not perfect application, because that means that you can work faster, and that means that if something works, you will have time to improve it. But if something doesn't, you can kill it very fast. So if a feature you think that is gonna be like the awesome feature of the application but nobody is using, and if you spent like 1 year developing it, you will feel bad deleting that feature. But if you put together a prototype like in 2 weeks of that feature and it doesn't work, like, okay, go ahead and delete that features. If it works, okay, spend like months improving it and optimizing it. So that's my approach on like production ready. Okay, so it updated. Let's go back in our let's go back. Where is it? Come on. AWS console here, and let's try again to update our chat room. Now we see the last message ID, and we will also see that the last message in that chat room is hello, the ID, and it's coming from Vadim. That means that we have a reference to the last message from a chat room. So what we can do with that, first of all, we should update the chat room for any new messages. That meaning that whenever a user sends a message, we should update the chat room and saying that this is the last message. So yeah, if you send like 2 messages, it will update 2 times, and the last time it will update with the last message. So it will always keep track of which message is the last one. Sorry, my voice, come on. Hello from Iraq. So let's implement that, and let's update our chat room from our application whenever we send a new message. So how can we do that? Let's go in our, let's think, where is our messages going? We are creating the messages from the components and a new message, not new message button, but the input box. The input box, here we have a chat room ID, here we have a message, and here we have an API call to create a new message. So first of all, we need to store the information that we receive from the API about the newly created message, because we will need the ID of that message. So new message data will be this one. So first of all, as usual, console log the new message data to see like what data we receive and how we can get the ID out of that. So let's do that. Let's open our debugger. Let's open our emulator and go into a new message here and write a message, send it. And I don't see the iOS here. Usually you should see the logs of iOS here. So I'm gonna try to run it once again. Is it running from another server? I don't think so. Where is the iOS? Come on. Yeah, I think we also receive the logs in the server itself. Do we? Yeah, what's going on? Why I don't see iOS here? I'm gonna close the server. I'm gonna close the server here and restart it. Yarn start. It's starting the Expo server here. We can close the application, and now we can run on iOS simulator. Oh, maybe the remote debugger is not enabled in our application. Yeah, that might be the case. That's no. We see our iPhone here, so we can select to see only the logs from our application. Yeah, let's now go ahead and send a message. Send. And here is the response that we receive. So we receive data.createMessage, and we see the ID here, createMessage.id. And this is the ID of a newly created message. The data.createMessage.id. Okay. So let's let's store it here somewhere in let new message ID, or we can even create a new function to split up the functionalities and say const update chat room last message. That's a pretty long name, but it's self-explanatory. So we will receive the message ID. It's gonna be async because we need asynchronous calls to the backend. The type of it will be string. So let's, instead of console logging, let's say await update chat room message, and the message ID will be new message data dot create message dot ID. Yeah, I hope that's correct. So here we receive a new message ID, and we need to update the chat room with that message. To update the chat room, we will need to import a new mutation, which will be update chat room. Yeah, it almost knew what I wanted to do. So yeah, let's put the call in a try catch, because we are doing network request and we never know what might happen. Console log error, and here await API dot GraphQL, and we send a GraphQL operation. And what operation? We send update chat room, and it needs variables. Variables will be will have an input, and we need to send two variables: ID of a chat room, which we want to update, and I think we have it here, chat room ID. And we need a last message ID like that, if I'm not mistaken. And this will be the message ID that we receive as parameter to the function. So that should update a chat room with ID of this chat room and set the last message to this last message. So okay. That's good. I'm thinking how to test it right now. Okay, it's refreshed. First of all, let's have a look if we don't receive any error messages. So updated. I don't see any error messages, so I think that it works. Now let's go here in our console and do a query to see if everything ran correctly. So we have list chat rooms. We don't need messages. We need to check the last message, which will have ID, content, user, ID, name. So let's run the chat rooms query. Last message null. We see here, yeah, this is our chat room that we just updated. So we see the last message in this chat room. The content of the message is updated. That's what we wrote, and it's coming from the user Vadim. And that means that we are updating correctly the chat room with the last message. And if we go ahead and write a new message, really, let's send it and let's rerun this query. Scroll a bit again from Vadim, but the content now is really. So it, with a new message, it updates the last message of that chat room. So yeah, I see some messages in the chat. I'll get to back pretty soon when we will have to wait some updates. But now I think we should move on. So yeah, I'm gonna get back to your questions soon. So we update the chat room for the new messages. That's good. And also let's make sure that we actually display the last message here, because right now I don't think that we do. I had that UI design of the last message to be displayed there, but I might commented it out because it was not implemented. And also not forget to test something. Yeah, let's have a look at what? Project. Contact list item. No, chat list item, and this is the chat list item that we are speaking about here, like every chat room separately. Let's see what it has here. Chat room last message. If chat room last message, but it should have. Let's just console log the chat room message here. Console log chat room, and to see if it has the last message property. So update, let's go here, chat room items. So first one. We are receiving their chat room users, and that's an array, chat room users. Yeah, we need here, besides the user of that chat room user, also to query the chat room. So let's see where we have that query to be able to adjust, because right now our query is just querying the users of that chat room user. Right? Chat room users. Yep. So screens, chat room screen, chat screen. Oh, queries, and here we get user. We in these queries we define a custom query, and we're not importing it from the generated queries because we need to adjust it in a way that suits us best. So for the chat room user, we are querying the chat room, and here we need to, besides the chat room, in the chat room we are querying only the ID and chat room users, but we also need to query the last message. So let's add it here. Let's make sure where this bracket ends. It's, I think, here, and add last message, and the last message will contain yeah, here we can write like what we need to query from the last message is the ID, content, created at, but instead of writing everything myself, I'm gonna see in the source GraphQL queries list. I'm gonna find the list chat rooms last message. Yeah, here is the information we need. Hope you can see it. So we will need ID, created at, content, user ID. We don't need user ID because we don't need chat room ID. Also, we will not need the created at. We'll need only the ID, content of the last message, and also we will need some information about that user itself. So the user who created the last message will get the ID of that user, will get the name, and that's it, because we just need to display, yeah, the name and the ID and the content itself. We don't need to display the avatar or anything else. So let's save right now and check our updated. I already can see it. So here we can see that this chat room displays the last message, which is really, displays the date, but it doesn't display the user that created that last message. That might be just because we didn't actually render the username. So if we go into the chat list item component, let's have a look here what we are rendering. Yeah, we're rendering here the last message content. Yeah, I'm gonna do some spacing so it will fit on the screen. So if chat room, okay. So besides the content, I'm gonna append the last message username in front of it. So I'm gonna wrap everything inside a template string. I'm gonna add it as a variable here in the string. And before that, we will display the chat room dot last message dot user dot name, right? Then a space, then the message, save. And here we see Vadim is writing something. We can even put here double dots. Yeah, we see here Vadim is writing something, and here we see the date of the last message. Yeah, that's pretty good. So if we go here and say possible handle hello, did it create? Have some errors, you know? There are some errors. Errors. First of all, where I'm console logging this one, I'm gonna delete it because we don't need it anymore. Save. And let's go into one chat room and look, cannot return null for non-nullable type ID for chat room last message ID. Okay, that's an issue that I was speaking about because chat rooms, this chat room doesn't have a last message ID and it cannot return a null value for non-nullable field because we said that this field is required. That's what Amplify was asking us to do. So let's see how can we fix it fast in the queries, screens.queries. Yeah, I think there is no other way than just creating a dummy ID when we create a chat room. So our old chat rooms we will not be able to open them, but let's update the way we create new chat rooms and let's add a dummy ID and see if that works, if that doesn't complain. So contact list item, and this is the contact list here. So that's when we create a chat room, when we press on a contact list. So for the creating a chat room, new chat room, here let's say last message ID is gonna be, we probably need at least to have that amount of digits, but we're gonna change it to something something different. So let's change some digits here. So let's save and see if we can still create chat rooms. Let's go with Lucas here. And error, Lucas. null variable input contains a field name, last message. Oh, I made a typo. Last message ID with capital D. Save. Lucas, come on. Okay. That means that we should have a new chat room here with Lucas. I'm just gonna reopen it to update the list. So where is the last one? Oh god, I don't know where is it. Should I just delete all of them? Yeah, let's not confuse anyone. Let's just delete all the old chat rooms. So list chat rooms. Gonna get only the IDs of the chat rooms. So let's chat rooms. Let's run it. And let's add a mutation. Mutation, delete chat room. Delete chat room. And the input will be ID. And the ID that we will want to remove. So we need to return something. What? Delete chat room. What can we query back ID? Okay. So let's start from the first one. Delete. Okay. That's gonna be interesting. Are they actually deleting? Yeah, this is a different ID. Delete chat room. Chat rooms. Gonna have to delete a couple of them. Delete chat rooms. Delete chat rooms. Delete. It's gonna be fun. Guys, before I finish that, I really need to go to the toilet. Sorry, I'm gonna be back like in 1 minute. I am back. Let's not touch anything because everything can disconnect easily. So let's continue our interesting stuff here. Deleting chat rooms. What if I just copy this, put it into a note here, so I can copy easier by this. Oh god, it's so many. Jeez. But maybe not all of them I'm part of. No, that's too many. I don't want to do that. No. We need a different plan, guys. Abort. Abort. Is anyone that I don't have a chat room with? I'll create a new user. That's the idea. I'll create a new user and I'm gonna I'm gonna start a chat room with that one. That's the new plan. So let's add a mutation to create a new user. Mutation. New user. Create user. And the inputs. What inputs does it need? Input. Create user. It needs image URI. Image. We can get images from some chatroom users, right? Items, user, image, URI, chatrooms. No, this one I'm not done yet. Come on. Image URI will be a string, but I need that image URI from somewhere. And the name. Chatrooms. Here we got the image. And for the name, new user. Let's run new user. Created. Let's go to our application. Let's go back. Let's open again. Do we see the new user? Yeah, we do. New user. Let's start the chat room with him. If we go back to the chats, let's reopen the application to update the chat rooms. Chat with new user. It's here. Chat with new user. And yeah, right now I think I can send messages to it. I go back, new user. Yeah. Everything is good. The only thing is that it doesn't update here right away, but we're gonna fix that with subscriptions. Because yeah, if I close it and reopen, we should be able to see the last message in our view here. Let's go here. Yeah, here Vadim says hello. Yep, that's good. And we made sure that we can create a new chat room, and we're using a dummy last message ID that will redirect to nothing, but we need it because it's a required field. So yeah, that's pretty good. How are you doing, guys? Are you still here? Everyone alive? So Mark is saying my current favorite React Native YouTuber. Thank you. Thanks very much. I really appreciate that. So, what's the plan? What's the plan? So, that's it with last messages. Let's get into the interesting stuff, guys. GraphQL subscriptions. So, first of all, let's start with a problem. Let's remind ourselves what was the problem. So whenever we type something, it doesn't appear here. And whenever the new user will write us a message, it again doesn't, it will not update our list automatically. So to accomplish that, we need a way for our backend to send a notification to our application that will say, hey, there is a new message, you need to update the UI. And in GraphQL, we can accomplish that with the subscriptions. So in GraphQL, there are three types of operation. First one is queries, which a client requests data from the server. There is a mutation which the client sends data to the server, meaning like creating a new item, updating a new item, and so on. And there is the third type of operation, which are subscriptions. And subscriptions will be triggered by a mutation. So whenever a mutation is run on the server will notify all the clients that are subscribed to that event. So suppose that we have, for example, a web application that is running that is connected to the server, a mobile application, and it can be like multiple, like tens of thousands of mobile application. Each client will subscribe to the GraphQL server in this case, to a new node event. And when the subscription is done, behind the scenes, GraphQL keeps a WebSocket connection with the client. So after that, someone, for example, in this case, this web application, creates a new mutation, runs a mutation at the node, and the mutation goes to the GraphQL server, and the GraphQL will save a node and will notify everyone who is subscribed to new node events, saying that, hey, there is a new node. Maybe you should update the UI. And it accomplishes that, yeah, as I said, because it keeps a WebSocket connection with all the clients. So yeah, here we can have like a lot of mobile applications connected and subscribe to new events. And whenever a new event fires, then all the clients will be notified about that event. So in our case, we would like to subscribe to the new message mutation. So whenever a new message arrives, we would like to receive a notification about that, because we want to update the UI of that message. So we're gonna do right that. Hopefully that's clear about GraphQL subscriptions. There is like a lot of information on the internet to dive deeper. I cannot get into a lot of details in this live stream because we got a build. So yeah, that's shortly about GraphQL subscriptions. By the way, I didn't work with GraphQL subscription in my production builds, so not in my startup application or other production application that I'm working on. And this is actually a good way for me to get started and have some hands-down experience with subscriptions, because yeah, I knew about subscriptions from a long time, but I didn't have like the necessity to implement them. So yeah, that's a good reason to do that. Let's learn together, guys. So if I'm googling a lot in the next like half an hour or an hour, like bear with me. But I think that is gonna be pretty straightforward because they are pretty easy. So our plan is we need to subscribe to new messages, and yeah, we need to create a subscription to new messages, and whenever a message will update, we will update our UI. Luckily enough, Amplify, I'll close everything. Luckily, Amplify generates all the subscriptions the same way as it generates like queries and mutations. So if we go into the source GraphQL, we will see here subscriptions.ts. And here is all the subscription that GraphQL generated. And they look pretty similar to the queries and mutation. Basically, we have like a subscription. That subscription will return as an object. For example, create new user. This will return a user. So here we have all the fields about a user: his name, his image, his status, everything that that is required. However, we will need like on message somewhere. Message created. No. On message. Come on, message. Where is message? Oh, on create message, this one. So we will need this subscription, and this subscription will be triggered every time a new message is created. That's what we need. So where are we gonna subscribe to this on create message? We're gonna start simple. So whenever we open a chat room, for example, we are in this chat room, we will create a subscription to all the messages for this chat room. So yeah, for now we're gonna work with only the chat room screen to keep it simple. After that, we can take this concept and apply it in other screens and everywhere we see fit. So let's open our chat screen. 1 second. Yeah, let's open our chat screen and have a look here what we have. So we have an unnecessary console log here that I guess we don't need. Let's save. Okay, we have a use effect that fetches fetches chat rooms or fetch chat room. Get user. Yeah. No, I'm in the wrong spot. Not chat screen, but chat room screen. Yeah. Panettone cake. Hi Vadim. Hello. Welcome. How is it going? Okay, so chat room screen. This is the screen that we're talking about. Chat with a person. So first of all, we have like this use effect that fetch messages. We have a use effect that gets the user ID. I will collapse that because we don't need that at the moment. And we're gonna create a new use effect that will run the first time our chat room opens, when the component mounts. And in that situation, we're gonna subscribe. And when the chat room disconnects, like when we go back, we're gonna unsubscribe. So to do that, let's create this chat room. And let's import our subscriptions. So I'm gonna copy paste this one because I'm too lazy to type. And here I'm gonna replace two subscriptions and on create message. Come on, Vadim, fat fingers. Yeah, we get this one. So yeah, right now, yeah, the subscription is the same as our query. So we do, but yeah, we're gonna receive a subscription back. Subscription is equal to API, and this is synchronous. So we don't need a wait API GraphQL, but just GraphQL, because if we hover over this one, we see that it returns either a promise with a GraphQL object in case of a mutation or in case of a query, and this promise we need to await, or it returns an observable object without a promise. So that's what is gonna return in our case right now. So our again, GraphQL operation, and our GraphQL operation will be on create message. Yeah, and that's it. I think we don't even need to so much space. And at the end, because this API GraphQL will return an observable, we can subscribe to this observable. So let's do a dot subscribe. And the subscribe function will receive a method with a next parameter, and this next is the function that is going to be called every time a new message is received. So we're going to receive the data here. And yeah, let's first of all console log data, but that's a lot of data. You will see in a moment. So let's console log data and we'll see. Okay, this is how we subscribe, and we need to unsubscribe every time that we leave this screen. So to do that, we will return a function to the use effect. We will return a function, and this function is going to be called every time the component unmounts. So when the component unmounts, we need to run subscription dot unsubscribe. Yeah, returning a function to a use effect. This function will be called every time the component unmounts. So we can unsubscribe in that case. Hopefully that's all we need at the moment. So let's open our console and let's try to send some messages, and we'll see what we receive. And I would like to send messages from the new user in this chat room. So I'm gonna do query on the chat rooms. Items, chat room, user. Let's do user name and chat room ID. I want to find the ID and the user ID from this chat room where I'm chatting with a new user. We will need that. So let's run our where did it disappear? No. Where did it disappear? Okay, we can write it again. Query get chat rooms. So list chat rooms, items, and in the chat rooms, chat room users, items, user name. That's how we will see the usernames and the ID of the chat room. So let's get the chat rooms. Here I'm speaking with Mike with Lucas, Mike with Mike, Daniel with Mike, Mike with Vadim, Lucas, Alexandra. Come on. New user. I'm gonna do a search. New user. Come on. Oh, here, new user. Oh god, I need the ID of that new user. Here. Yeah, we have ID of a new user and we have ID of a chat room. That's good. So let's create a query to create a message that is coming from the new user in our chat room. So create message mutation. Oh, not query, but mutation, right? Create a message. Create message input. The input will be chat room ID and user ID. For the chat room ID, this the chat room ID. For the user, we'll take the ID of the new user here. And we're gonna say, yeah, ID, content. Oh, yeah, and also the content. Content. Hey. Yeah, let's create the message. duplicate operation name create message. I think we already have this one. Create message. Yeah, here. I'm just gonna delete this query. Create message. Yeah, it's sent. So let's check our build, and yeah, here we can see that's what I was speaking about. This is the response for the subscription. So the good thing is that we are receiving a notification, but it's a lot of data. So yeah, looking for the documentation, I found like where exactly is that data. So it's somewhere in data.value data dot on create yeah, just like that. And we're gonna see just a little bit less data there. Let's again create a new clean our logs and create a new message. And here we see our object on create message. However, we see null. And oh boy, I spend a lot of time understanding why it's null. And yeah, sometimes AWS Amplify documentation is not the best. And in this case, I spent like around 2 hours understanding why on create message we receive a notification, but we don't receive a data about that message, like which message was created. So I found out in some GitHub issues that the thing that we are querying here when we create a message, for example, ID, content, and so on, the thing that we are querying back when we create a message should be the same thing as our subscription fields. So our subscription fields is this: on create message, returns ID, created at, and all the good stuff. So I'm gonna copy everything from here. So if you have the same issue, guys, just copy all the fields from the on create message subscription, and let's go back here and paste them inside here. Let's run again create message. Yeah, we will see all the fields that we queried back. And when we go back here, we don't see null field, but we actually see on create message, which is an object. It has like created at, ID, it has a last message, and yeah, all the good stuff that we need. So that's good that we receive a notification. So let's go in our chat room screen. And we'll say const new message will be equal to data.value.data.on create message. And this is going to be our new message. And yeah, one more thing. We receive this notification about a new message when any message is created, like even in a different room. So for any message that will be created in our backend, we will receive this notification. And it's our responsibility right now to check if the message belongs to our room, then we will try to do something with it. If it's not related to our room, then we can just skip. So let's do a if statement. If new message dot chatroom ID, yeah, it has, you see, new message has a chatroom ID. If chatroom ID is different than the actual chat rooms which we keep in route params ID, if it's different than this one, then let's return. Let's stop the execution, because okay, this is not a message that we are interested in. It's probably a new message in a different chat room. However, if they are equal, we need to update our state and display the new message that was created. So let's call the set messages, and set messages will receive an array. So the messages, we will need to append the new messages to the existing messages that are already in the state. So to do that, we're gonna say like, okay, the first one will be the new message that we received, and after that will be all the messages that we already have there. So messages, right? Messages. Yeah. Let's save and let's hope that it will work. So if we write a message, the message is posted, and we receive an update with the message, and it's set in the state. Now, if new user answers us something back, new user, I'm not touching the application right now at all. So if new user says, yeah, create chat room message, hopefully we will be, token has expired. Token has expired. That means that I'll probably have to log out and log back in. And here we choose the app client web, and we insert the credentials that we registered the user with. So when we registered a user in our application, that's what we're gonna set here. So let's create a message again. It created, and will you receive anything? Maybe our check is not good, so let's console log here. Message is in another room. New user. Let's try to send a new message. Message is in another room. Yeah, maybe I need yeah, the check is not good, so let's just console log the new message chat room, just to be sure that their type is not different. So maybe we need to do like toString before comparing them. So, and another console log to the route params ID. Yeah, I think we need to just convert them to string, and they will be equal. So let's go here, let's run another message, and here message is in another room, and it displayed only one. Here, two separate IDs. Oh, I think I know, because I have two rooms with a new user, and this is probably the other one. Create message. Again in another room. Let's console log the room ID to be sure at the beginning, to be sure that we are actually sending the message to the right room. So let's open our debugger, close this one, and let's open again the chat room. And here is the ID of this chat room. So let's make sure that it's the same one as we are creating messages to. Oh god, this is so small. I don't have enough space. Chat room, create message, chat room ID. Let's replace it with this chat room ID. Save and run, create message. Hey, we receive a message, however it deleted all our messages. How cool is that? And if we create a new one, Oh, I think I know. After we logged out and logged it back in, our create message mutation updated. So actually, this is not the other user's ID. This is my ID. Let's go back and come on, Vadim. List users. Let's list users and find the ID of new user. Here we go. And let's make sure that this is the ID here. No, it's not. This is actually my ID. I don't know why it updated. So if we create the message right now, yeah, we see that the message is coming from the new user. However, I don't know why it deletes all the messages that there were previously. So let's have a look here. Set messages, new message, and then we destructure the messages. Why are you doing that? Can you explain? Let's delete these ones. And let's console log messages.length to see how many messages we already have in state. Okay, yeah, there you go. So if we create a new message, it's only one message in state. How come? Why is that happening? Why the messages in state has a length of 1? When? Because initially it displays them pretty good. So let's just console log messages in state messages.length. Yeah, messages in state 9. And when we create a message, it becomes 2. That's weird. Am I doing something wrong? Probably. A good solution that we always should try: close and reopen. Yeah, we see them, but however, messages. Ten messages in state. That's good. Create message. And it deletes everything. Where are the messages? So. Use effect. I'm thinking about the scope messages. Let's just create a separate function like add message to state message, and it will and it will set the messages from here. Set messages, message, and messages. And from here, let's just call that function. Add messages to state, new message, save. And in this case, if we create a new one, no, God. Messages. What am I doing wrong? I think I tested that before and it was working actually good. I didn't have this if like, can that be a problem? Like why? Create message? Nope, 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 nope. I feel that the scope of a subscription is lost, is different. Why that happens? Am I doing a typo somewhere? If I just set messages to messages, but no, we see that the length of the messages is free in this case. Message. Somebody come get her. Yeah. That's a little bit of problem. You know what? I'm gonna try. What I'm gonna try. I don't even know what I'm gonna try. New message. Any ideas, guys? Let's commit everything, and I'm gonna try the version that I was doing beforehand while I was prepping. So let's do a git add, git commit -m subscription work in progress, and git checkout this one. And here, let's go to the new user. Hello. Oh, the same. Yeah, that means that we can go back to our main branch and try to debug it there. So why messages here are different from the state? When are they updated? Are they somehow recalled here? Because only here we are calling the set messages. Set messages. Yeah, here. Yeah, only here. Let's do console log fetch messages. Let's save our consoles. Fetch messages called only once. That's true. And when we call this one, create message, now it appeared. Is that magic? Hi. Create message. Hello. What? What happened there? Who can explain? We just added a console log and it started working. Yeah, but you see, it's very weird. Yeah, and we subscribe the messages are kept like pretty weirdly in the state. Let's have a look. Like React Native use state in subscribe, something like that. In observable. No, that's something different. Maybe it's a problem with like observables, and yes, use state. We are calling set value, set state. Not working. We are using a custom observable. Yeah, that seems an interesting problem that I would have to debug a bit later. The good thing is that we are receiving these subscription updates, and every time a new user writes a message, we receive this update. However, we cannot access the state properly. So yeah, I think that in this live stream we're gonna move on, and I'm gonna come with some updates for you guys how we can fix this using the state inside the observables. Right now, I don't know, like maybe we can refetch all the messages. Yeah, that would be one. That would be one solution, but that's not the most elegant one, because like, yeah, we can take out these fetch messages yeah, from here, and say like, yeah, whenever we receive a new message and this message is for us, we're gonna refetch all the messages, and that I guess would work. Fetch messages. Let's save, and that would work. Let's check if that would work. Create a new message. Yeah, we see that it adds properly. We create a new one, it adds again. Let's create a new message here. Working with yeah, working, but it's not the proper implementation that I wanted to do, because we are doing extra stuff, but it's working. Yeah, so if we send a message, it's refetching the messages. I don't know why it put 2 times. Yeah, I think I just entered 2 times. Yeah, I pressed enter 2 times. So yeah, we see that it's working. There was a bit of an issue with adding the message to the state, but yeah, I can fix that later and update you guys how to do it. So yeah, if you manage to fix that, please let me know. That would be interesting. But currently, whenever we receive a new message, we're gonna refetch all the messages in this chat room. And by refetching all the messages, we will definitely see the new message that was inserted by the user. So that's actually also working, as I said. Not as I planned, but yeah. So yeah, we don't need this one, and probably we don't need this add message to the state function. Yeah, let's save and let's commit. Git add, git commit, subscription. Kinda working. That's the best commit message that can possibly be. Kinda working, but not as expected. How are you doing, guys? Are you still here? So let's check a bit the chat room. Why use Expo not using React Native CLI? That's pretty simple answer, because with Expo it's so much easier to get started, to create a new project and to get started, and like less setups. And I feel that Expo is much more beginner friendly. So, and whenever you have like the limitation of Expo, you can eject and have a bare workflow of React Native, the same way as you would start with React Native CLI. So by choosing Expo, you get the benefits, but you don't have limitations, because whenever you're limited by Expo, you can, with running one command, Expo eject, you have a bare React Native application, and you can use any libraries that you wish. So that's the answer. Hi Vlad, Vadim from greetings from Argentina. Hello Gabriel. You can use all on the same use effect. Yeah, I can use all on the same use effect, but I like to spread the logic into multiple functions to have much more cleaner code. Because yeah, here I look like, okay, this use effect is responsible for getting my user ID. This use effect is responsible for fetching messages whenever the component mounts, and this use effect manages the subscription. If we put everything together, it starts to getting a lot of code, harder to maintain, and whenever you have like different dependencies, that's even harder to manage, and you'll get into some troubles. And all function you can create around use effect and use it in yep. So Rob, hello from India. Hello. So I think that this is the main part of subscriptions to receiving new messages. As some improvements that you can follow along yourself would be to subscribe to new messages only in the chat room that we are part of, because currently we are receiving all the notification events for all the messages, but we can accomplish to receive subscription events only for the chat rooms that we are part of. And also you can subscribe to chat room updates the same way as we subscribe to new messages. We can subscribe to a chat room update, and whenever we are in this screen, we will subscribe to chat room updates, and we will update the last message whenever it is updated on the server. So being on this screen, when someone sends you a message, the last message will be updated here. So that's something for you guys to do it yourself, to practice your knowledge and to understand if you actually grasp the concept of subscriptions. So yeah, if you have any problems, let me know in the Discord server. I'll try to help you. And if you manage to do that, that would be really awesome. And yeah, send me an update and say that, hey, I did that. The next step that I want to get into is the keyboard avoiding view. So this is a problem with keyboards that are going above your views, and this prevents seeing some of your important stuff on the screen. So for example, let's not speak aloud, but actually do. Here we see that at the bottom of the screen we have the input box for the message, and that's cool if we are typing on a PC, on an emulator, but on a real device you will have a keyboard there. So I'm gonna go into IO, keyboard, toggle software keyboard, and we can see that by toggling the software keyboard, our input message disappeared. So this is a very common problem in a lot of applications, and yeah, to solve that, we're gonna use keyboard avoiding view. There is a component directly from React Native. So we will just have to import the keyboard avoiding view from React Native and put everything in that we have in this page inside that keyboard avoiding view. So let's copy this one and let's open our chat room screen here. So we have our image, we have flat list and image box. Yeah, I will put everything in this keyboard avoiding view that we can import from React Native. Let's make sure that, yeah, it's good. And let's save, and hopefully it works. Can find variable name styles. Yeah, because we actually created the inline styles for this one. Save. Will you work? Okay, now it looks okay, and let's try to toggle our keyboard. Come on, IO, keyboard, toggle. Our keyboard was toggled and it doesn't actually display that one. Let's have a look why. Actually, we see that the whole like flat list is moving, but the input box, because I think we set the input box as position absolute, and that's why. Yeah, that's the idea. We set the position of the input box to absolute. So let's change that. Let's go to our components, input box, styles, and is it actually position absolute? For the container, margin right? No, it's not position absolute. It just displayed at the flex end. No, that's not the case. Or is it? IO keyboard. Come on, come on, come on, come on. And somewhere our UI input element disappears. Maybe here in the chat room, but no, we don't have anything. If I, for testing purposes, I put it on top. What if we put the keyboard avoiding view platform here? Oh, I didn't import the platform. Save. Let's test with this one. No, it doesn't work. So what if we put the keyboard avoiding view on the input itself? Here, input. Yeah, we can even say like let's comment out this view. Have extra brackets there. Now if I open, yeah, now it works. So let's remove it from the other one, because we will not need it in the whole screen, but we need just the input to wrap around the keyboard avoiding view. Let's save, and now it opens and we can see it. Hello. That does it need both? That's interesting. That's something with has to do with flat list. I guess we don't need it here. Yeah, it moves, but not exactly how I want. Maybe I need like more padding. If iOS is padding, automatically adjust the height, position, or button padding based on the keyboard height. Height, position, and padding. I'm just gonna try different types, behaviors. So there is height, position, and padding. Let's, padding is that one. I think position, save. Oh no, oh no, oh no, 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 no. Authentication. Oh God. Where did you disappear? Styles with 100%. Where do you disappear? Messing around until it will work, but it will. That's when a backend developer goes into into developing UI. Offset, I don't know, 200. What that will do? Oh, that will works. Yeah, I think we just needed some offset. 30. 100. Yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, you see, right now our just by adding the keyboard vertical offset is this value, if I'm not mistaken, is the distance between the top of a user screen and the React native view. Yeah, I think is the this amount. So if by adding that, we have a keyboard avoiding view. And whenever we see the keyboard, it doesn't hide our text input, and we can type and send the messages. Yeah, I hope that also works on Android. I didn't check it right now. But if it doesn't, just play around with the behavior. On their website, it displays as height for Android, because this is, if a platform is iOS, then it will say that behavior is padding, and if not, it's height. But it depends, like play around, maybe it also needs padding, and in that case, like it will work like that. So yeah, we have implemented the fixed the bug with a keyboard avoiding view. Let's add everything, git commit fix issue with keyboard. Okay, so what's next? Yeah, I think that we implemented more or less all the important parts of the real-time chat application with React Native and AWS Amplify. And at this point, I showed you all the concepts, all the techniques, how you can accomplish features. So if you want to continue building this application, just take what we already have and implement the same thing for the new features. That being said, like if you want to have this screen subscribe to changes, so whenever a user sends you a message, you will have as an example the subscriptions for new messages, and you will do that same thing with a subscription for a chat room update. You can implement the status page to display all users with their statuses, and yeah, much more, because all the basic functionalities of this application are done. And what's left, just improving it and adding it to your portfolio, hopefully, and hopefully that will help you get a job. So some improvements ideas, because I try to keep this live stream relatively short. This WhatsApp was quite long. We had like first first and second one was almost 4 hours, and this one is 2 hours. So yeah, it's almost 10 hours of content, and yeah, that's quite a lot. So I would like to start building new projects for you guys. And what you can do next, here are some improvements ideas that you can implement for this application if you want to go one step forward, because I highly encourage doing that. You will learn much more things. You will understand if you actually grasp the concept, or there is something that still needs to be researched or learned, or yeah, I don't know. So the first thing is pagination. We didn't implement pagination for chats and not for for messages. And what do I mean by that? Is, for example, if you're chatting a lot with users, you might have like thousands and tens of thousands of messages. So you don't want to query all the messages when you open the application with that user. Because that will take a lot of time and a lot of bandwidth, and most of the times that's not necessary. However, you want to query, for example, the last 100 messages, and that's, by the way, the default value of the size that Amplify will return. It will return at most 100 items. So you will return 100 items, 100 messages you'll display here. However, when you scroll up, you will gradually load more messages, and you'll do that with pagination. In GraphQL, that's pretty easy. And yeah, go ahead and research Amplify pagination, and you'll see that Amplify for each request. Let me just show you quickly, because yeah, I think there will be some question, but it's very easy. So in list users, for all the list queries, which is like list users, list messages, everything, whenever you have like items, you also have what do you have here? Token, next token, and the next token is an ID of a next page. So let's do list user, and if we run the query, it will return like a couple of users. By default it will return maximum 100 user. So let's say that we want only the first 2 users, and if we run the query, we see that it returned only 2 users in our items array. However, it gave us a next token, and this token is the ID of the next page. And you just take this next token and paste it into the variables. Next token is this one. And let's check. First one is Lucas, second one is Mike. If we run again, it will be Vadim and then Alexandra. And again, like next page, you copy the next token. Let me, paste the next token, run again, new user, Daniil, and you do that until you receive next token as null. And when next token is null, that means that there are no more pages. Here we go, next token is null, the last user is Alex. So that's how you do it here, but that's similarly how you would do it in code. You just take the next token and you give it to the next page, to the next request as a variable. So it shouldn't be very challenging. However, it's a new topic and a quite important one. That's about pagination. You can paginate messages, you can paginate the chat rooms, you can paginate users, contacts, and so on. The next one, adding people to chat rooms in order to create groups of users. And this is actually also not very hard to implement because by default, we designed our application to support multiple users in our chat rooms. Because we have a many-to-many relationship. We don't have just a chat room contains user 1 and user 2. Because if we have done that from the beginning, it would be hard to adjust it to support multiple users. But we said that a chat room contains a list of users, and in that list, currently we added only 2 users, but you can add like multiple users. So you just need to implement a pop-up menu here that will open when you press these 3 dots, and a button like add user. And that add user will redirect to a separate page that will look something like this, where you will select a user that you want to add. And when you press on that user, you will run the query that we are running here, like add user to chat room. You will have that user ID, you will have the chat room ID, you run the query, and boom, that user is in our chat room. And he will see the chat room in here, he will be able to send messages there, and everything will work magically, hopefully. Next one, updating user data. So you can implement a page, I don't know, somewhere like also maybe here with settings or as a separate tab, where the user will be able to update his name, his status, and so on. The next one, which is pretty cool, would be to implement emojis. So you would be able to see a list of emojis, you'll be able to send them, and so on. And from something more technical, that's like extra challenge. Let's put it like this, extra challenge, is sending voice messages and sending media files. Sending media files means that we're gonna send like images, and for that we're gonna connect an Amplify service called Storage, which work with S3 storage from AWS. And whenever we select an image, we're gonna store that image into S3, get the URL, and put that URL into our message into the database. So besides the content, we'll have like a image URI, for example. And we'll check like if image URI is in backend, we'll display an image instead of a content. If you need an example, I implemented storage with AWS Amplify in Twitter. So in Twitter clone, we are able to post tweets with images, and the approach is pretty similar to what you would need here. You will need to update some things and to adjust it to work with this one. But yeah, you have an example in the Twitter clone. You can check it on my channel. And sending voice messages, this is again like a bit more technical. And here you would use a library to record the voice. And when you record the voice, you can use the same library that I was using for Spotify, which is, if I'm not mistaken, Expo Media AV for videos and audios. And that library allows you to record a message, to record a voice message. And after you record that voice message, the things goes similar to the media files. You send that voice message to S3 to store it. Then you get back a URL, and you attach that URL to the message when you send to the database. Yeah, I think that would be very nice if you can implement that. But yeah, if you have any questions, ask them in Discord. I will try to help you guys. And what I can say. How are you doing, guys? How did you feel? I think that's the end of our WhatsApp clone. Sad music, sad noises. But don't be sad, because new builds are coming next week. I have a lot of ideas, and also like all of you guys are sending me application ideas that I'm taking into consideration. And next week we're gonna start a new React Native build from scratch. And if you didn't catch this one, start with the next one. So yeah. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed and if you found this valuable. Leave a like, share it with one friend that might be interested in this. That's it. And as usual, guys, stay hydrated, write clean code, take care. Bye bye.